What is going on, people? It's Matt from Liquid Loans, and in this video I'm joined by Cristian, our CEO, as we discuss the protocol developments, the Liquid Loans Validator, how Liquid Loans is going to be using the Gnosis Safe and how that's going to be a value add to the community, and also Liquid Loans on the testnet and when you'll be able to see that. So with no further ado, let's go. Hey Cristian, great to see you. Thanks for taking the time to jump back on the Liquid Loans YouTube channel.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, Matt. Really appreciate it.
No problem. I know there's some developments that you wanted to let the community know about.
Yeah, obviously we've been working really hard in terms of working through what we need to do for the protocol itself. The guys have been working on a number of areas, particularly in the infrastructure and the security side of things. One of the challenges, obviously, for us at this point in time is how do you actually make a price call to Pulse when Pulse doesn't exist, right? So it's really important that we come up with the appropriate solution. I think, we do know that PulseX will be part of that solution, but the solution's a lot broader than that. So we're looking at different mechanisms that we can use, and we're testing some of those now. But obviously, that really can't happen in earnest until we've actually Pulse goes live, and then we can do the appropriate testing at that point as well.
You also touched on before about some stuff about the validators and how there might be some incentives to stake with that. Is that right?
Yeah, that's a good point. I know that the team have worked really hard to get the validator up and running, and I think my understanding is that it's now on rotation, which is great. And obviously, we're doing that because we would like to support Pulse Chain, but at the same time, we expect that we'll be using some of that information in terms of some of the nodes. Having nodes available to us is really important. So for what we're looking to do, but at the same time, I think people will be looking at the validator and delegating their stake because, that there will be transaction fees that will pass on to individuals who decide to use a validator or delegate with a validator. So what we're considering here, and whilst we haven't landed on the specific mechanics, is that there is an opportunity to further incentivize that. So we're looking at ways that we could do that just to ensure that we end up with a lot of people wanting to delegate with the Liquid Loans validator.
That's fantastic. And you can actually see the validator on the testnet right now. Is that right?
Yeah. So anyone that wants to actually have a look at the validator and see how it's going, you can easily go to the site, bring up the validator. You'll notice it's labeled the Liquid Loans validator. So it's pretty easy to find. The name of the game with being a validator is to have uptime, make sure that it's running consistently. And obviously, as people delegate their stakes to you, that they're actually receiving those rewards. And so there's a bit of work to do there, but the guys are doing appropriate testing to make sure that that's working perfectly. And from what I can see, it's been working really well. So we're very happy with progress on the validator.
Like you said, we're bringing value to Pulse Chain. And obviously,
Exactly.
and people delegating with Liquid Loans are going to get those fees for delegating a stake.
Yeah. Look, one of the things that I did want to raise, and it's become just, look, it's a byproduct. We've obviously been going through a lot of our own development. We're using, so a big challenge with Pulse Chain, particularly at the early days, was there some of the infrastructure tools that we needed weren't there. So we had to sort of look at ways to get around some of those things. We've managed to get through all of that. But what we did realize is that we actually wanted some form of multisig that we can use for certain things within what we're doing, particularly around front ends. And we thought, well, okay, how can we actually do this? Let's consider using Gnosis. And so we were able to build the code into what we're doing. The Gnosis codes currently exists, and we've been able to work with them to actually make sure that we've got that available. And just talking to the team more broadly, I said, well, wouldn't it be great if we can just make this available to the community? And the thought is, hey, why don't we do that? We're going to build a front end to this. Why don't we build a front end, make sure technically it's exactly what we need, but at the same time we can make that available to the community. So it's not something that we feel that it's just a value add that we can bring to the community, and we can provide that. And I think for people that aren't familiar with Gnosis, it's a very good way of providing an extra layer of security. So if you're not familiar with the Gnosis Safe, I'd urge that you take a look at it. It's currently running on Ethereum. I know some of the people that run staking pools, or not staking pools rather, but the sacrifice pools, they would have loved to have had something like this at the very beginning, but unfortunately it just wasn't ready.
Yeah.
It's just a very nice way of managing security for a particular wallet. So you end up with a number of signatories signing off on a transaction before the transaction can proceed. So bottom line is, I think people that are familiar with Gnosis, and even if you're not, it's worthwhile exploring it. We will look to build a front end to this, and the benefit of that will be felt by everyone in the community that wants to use it. So we're really pleased that we can add that sort of value back.
That's fantastic. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Vitalik, the founder of Ethereum, uses Gnosis Safe himself to secure his own Ethereum. So I think that says a lot for how safe it really is.
Yeah, look, I think people have gotten on to the fact that it's not a bad way of doing it. I mean, there's obviously other security measures you can take, and I think most people are familiar with some of those. But Gnosis is, once you get your head around how it actually works, it's a fantastic tool. It does provide some redundancy. So let's just give an example. There's a mum and dad who've decided to invest in crypto. They have a particular wallet, or they use Gnosis Safe. And the reason for that is they may decide that if something ever should happen to mum and or dad, that, maybe some of the children with specific signing wallets can actually authorize transactions out of the wallet. So generally speaking, the way that the Gnosis Safe works is funds can go into the wallet, and there's no restriction of that. But coming out of the wallet, you need multiple signatories to be able to take funds out of the wallet. It's a very secure way of managing wallets, in my opinion. So anyone that's interested in doing something like that, all we're saying is, hey, we've created some of what we need. Why not take a little bit more time and build a front end to it so that people can actually use that on Pulse Chain when it launches. So we'll make that available when we can.
Absolutely. I think you can never be too safe in crypto, and especially with, as we know, if someone, God forbid, but it happens, someone passes away and no one's got their seed phrase, that money can't go to their family or loved ones. So I think this is great for liquid loans, and the fact that we can bring it as a value add to the community is really important. I know your time is tight, and I'm going to let you go soon. But before I do, one last thing. A few people have been asking about liquid loans on the testnet. Will they be able to play around with it and use it anytime soon?
Yeah, look, I know the guys are working really hard at getting that up and running. Obviously, we've been using the system and testing it, and there's a fair bit of testing to go to make sure that it's robust enough. I think what people need to understand with the DApp once it's made available is that because Pulse technically hasn't launched, we don't actually have a price for Pulse. But ultimately, it's not like running live. It's going to be close to it, but obviously until Pulse launches, we're not really in a position to do too much more than that. And I actually think, in some respects, the debate that we're having is, do we wait till Pulse launches to make that available? Because then we'll have a closer to real system that people can test. So we haven't agreed yet. So we're still discussing that. But I think all I can say is there will be a testnet available so people can play around with this. There is no way that we're going to not do that, because it's really important as part of our testing process that we enable that so people can actually go in and hammer it basically and make sure that it's running correctly. So it will be available. Timing's a bit of a question mark at the moment, but I know the guys are working really hard at getting that sorted soon.
Fantastic. Well, I'm sure as soon as the Liquid Loans team, make a full decision on when, the community will know ASAP. So that's great.
Absolutely.
Fantastic, Cristian. Thanks for coming on. I really appreciate your time, and you'll have to come back on soon and update us with any other further developments.
Yeah, so you'll see me occasionally. I mean, it's good to get updates and give the community a bit of a sense of where we're at. Obviously, there's some exciting things that we're working on, and some value adds that we weren't expecting. And I think I'm really happy about that. That's just some stuff that we can bring to the community. So, Matt, thank you very much for your time, and great work on the YouTube channel, mate. Really doing well. And congratulations on, I think we've got 5,000 now, or
just
over
over
5,000.
5K. Yeah.
So well done, Matt.
Thanks, Cristian. Great to see you.
Thanks, mate. Bye-bye.
So I hope you enjoyed the update video with Cristian. If you did like it, guys, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and that bell icon so you're notified every time we drop new content and videos on the channel. You can also gently tap the like button, share the video with someone who you think it may benefit, and if you're feeling very kind, maybe drop a cheeky comment below for the algo. It does help us out. Thanks for watching, and I will see you on the next one.